Focus on Shelton, brought to you by our great friends at Our Community Credit Union. And Spencer, we have Public Works Director Gregory in studio. Good morning, sir.
Morning, guys.
Hey, what's going on?
You and the Public Works Department have been busy. We noticed, Monday morning, all the great paint on the streets, looking sharp, getting ready for Forest Festival.
Yeah, and the guy, so a little different this year. Normally, we do all of the crosswalks and the T's and L's, the parking T's and L's, and then all the long line striping throughout the entire city before Forest Festival. This year, a little different process for us. We're going to just do basically downtown, the parade route, and also Olympic Highway North for the crosswalks and the T's and L's, and then leave all of the long line striping until later in the summer. We're going to do some maintenance projects this year that are going to affect quite a few roadways, so we didn't want to go in and paint those, those resurfacing of roadways and then have to repaint them. And actually, scheduling-wise, I think it works out better anyway. Keeping those lines fresher throughout the winter and a little more visible through the winter. So I think we're going to delay that this year until probably about September to do all of the long line striping. But yeah, the guys got out and got all of the crosswalks at least painted in the downtown area and then on Olympic Highway North, and then we'll wait for the rest of it until later in the summer.
Let's talk a little bit about Olympic Highway North. There's quite a conversation going on social media about the Olympic Highway North, the project, the middle islands that are there. And it was just about a week after things opened up that a car seemed to go over kind of that middle. It turned out to be a DUI or whatever. You guys have, and I know at least Central Basin Fire and EMS Deputy Chief Mike Patty has commented on this on Facebook as well. But you guys have had, from the very beginning, conversations with law enforcement, fire officials, emergency services on the look to the road, right? They know, they had the input.
We try to involve, not that we've done this in the past, but since I've become director, we have made sure that when we're designing a roadway or any project, we are consulting everybody. We are getting input from whether it be local agencies that we're partnering with, or law enforcement, first responders, whatever it might be. And in this particular one, we not only heard from the first responders, we heard from the general public. So when we first rolled this out, if everybody remembers back 2 years ago, would have been October of 2017, we had our first public meeting. And when we rolled that out to start with, we had a full center divider that entire length with no splits in it. It was the entire length.
And wasn't it even a little valley in there, or if I remember
that was
correctly?
to divide the sidewalk from the traveled way. Yeah. Certainly there was that depression in there, or swale in there, that when we took out the Jersey barrier. But we heard the public, we heard law enforcement, and everybody said, we got to find a way around this. We got to find a different way to do this. So then we went back and redesigned. We weren't very far into it. We were only at like 10% at that point.
Yeah.
So it was really just a concept. We didn't have to go back and redesign much. It was really just moving forward. But we came up with this concept of, okay, let's put some brakes in that island. After we did that, we went back and met with everybody again. We had another open public meeting. We had another meeting with all law enforcement, our large trucking outfits in town, the school district, MTA, all of those to weigh in on, okay, what's this look like? And when we rolled that back out and had the splits in the islands where a broken down car could take some refuge in the middle there, so traffic could still pass by. First responders could move into that middle section between in the breaks, and traffic could still flow. And everybody said, yes, awesome design, move forward with it. And I think it was proven a week ago, last Friday, when we did have the DUI, and not only it accomplished a bunch of different things that really proved some concepts for us, and it gave law enforcement and first responders a place to get into those center islands. They did. They moved a fire truck and an ambulance right into the middle there, and traffic was still able to flow by. And not only that, but for safety reasons, that individual driver could have taken a life last week.
Sure.
He was headed into the upcoming hill the opposite lane of traffic, going at a pretty decent rate of speed, and hit the center island.
Yeah.
And got hung up. And frankly, if that wouldn't have been there, and we would have had the old roadway that didn't have a divider, it had speeds of an average of almost 40 miles an hour in both directions on that roadway, who knows what would have happened. So we're pretty happy with the result of something that was a negative, really looking at that and looking at it as a positive and saying, okay, what did we learn out of this? And I think what we got out of it was a lot of the concepts that we rolled out in that project worked, and they were proven last week.
Seeing a lot of work at the first part of that road there where the new roundabout's going to be up to Northcliff. A reminder for folks that those businesses there, Mickey's Deli, Northwest Closures, Kobe Teriyaki, all those places, they're open for business.
They are open.
Please stop by and shop there.
Still
the
open.
chiropractor.
Yes. Yep.
So it may be a little difficult to navigate into those businesses, but they're open for business.
And the detour continues to be set up, so there is a way to get into it. So originally we talked about closing Northcliff completely for like 2 months. We've gotten away from that. It should open back up sometime next week and be open pretty much the entire time. We're looking at a new paving schedule for Northcliff. We don't know what that looks like right now. We ran into some issues on Northcliff. Originally it was going to be paved today. We ran into some trench compaction issues that we have to address so that we make sure that roadway holds up. So we've delayed that, but it will be back open, and that area around First Street, you're still able to get there via Franklin to 4th Street and 4th Street to Birch, and then accessing those businesses. So yes, go down and support those businesses that are negatively affected by this.
So we're a month out from Forest Festival Parade and things like that. Lots of folks, tens of thousands coming into the Shelton downtown area to celebrate all the great Forest Festival festivities. Where would you like to see you guys at by that weekend for flow of traffic and to make sure everything's good for are you guys on pace to have things cleared out at least for folks to get into town, or what are you thinking?
It'll look a lot like it looks like right now.
Okay.
The First Street intersection, they're looking at sometime mid-July before they're finished up with that down there. And then at that point, we will go and pave that entire project, the entire distance from First Street all the way to the top of the hill at C Street up at Skipworth. So that's going to all be done at one time. We've had a few different concepts of how do we do this? Do we pave portions of it? But anytime you end up with seams, cold joints in the asphalt, those seem over time to pull apart, and you end up with areas for water to get down into the subgrade. So we'd rather not have any seams on that project. So we're gonna try to pave that entire distance all at one time.
Wow.
So that we don't end up with those cold joints and those seams in there. So
Okay.
we're gonna wait until after the traffic circle is fully constructed, which probably won't be until sometime, like I said, around mid-July-ish, before we go back and actually finish up that project. So downtown will be a little difficult to get around in. It'll look a lot like it does right now for Forest Festival. So Railroad Avenue is a good option to get into town. You will have, you'll have a closure at 12th Street for the parade, but off of that will be detours onto Coda Street. So you'll be able to get around downtown from First to Coda. And then Olympic Highway North will remain open also during that time. So should be able to get around, but it will probably be a little more difficult than normal years.
But then by next year, it'll be all thumbs up.
Well, we do have another construction project on Railroad Avenue that looks like it's going to start sometime in construction season 2020. So, something that we'll have to take a look at then.
We'll keep our eyes on that one.
Thanks.
Craig Gregory, Public Works Director for the City of Shelton. Focus on Shelton this week, every week, brought to you by our Community Credit Union.